This video is an example of personalized learning that I use in my classroom. The activity is something you can take away and use right now, and it can work in any content area. Personalized learning does not have to be a different assignment for each kid or even a choice board of assignments for your kid. You can give every single kid the exact same assignment and it still be personalized learning if it puts kids in the driver's seat and lets them go at their own pace. So something that I use whenever I have a low scoring test that tends to be our Unit 2 culture test is I use something called group testing. And it may sound really odd, it did to me the first time I heard about this method, but once the students take their test, they immediately, and it needs to be on the same day because they just took it, so they're actually curious about what they made and they're more passionate about the test, but they take the test immediately again, but they do it with a group of peers. And I think that 3 to 4 is the perfect number. That way it's small enough to where everyone has a voice, but they're given one answer sheet and they have to agree on what number 1 is all the way through the end of their test. And students are leading the conversation and they're working at their own pace. If they get to number 1 and they're all in consensus and they all agree, they can move on quickly. But if they get to one they don't agree on, that's a harder question for the group. The conversations that you will hear will restore your faith in humanity. They will sit there and say, Miss Player talked about this example and then she did this, and another student will be like, she may have said that, but what this meant was X, Y, and Z. And to know that your students actually listened to something that you said and they're able to communicate it to another student as an example and come up with their own examples, I think is really powerful. And they have to come up with a consensus. Sometimes groups are tied. Half the students feel like it's one answer, half feel like it's another, and they have to continue to debate until they agree. And what I have learned is that students not only come out with a better understanding of the content, but they're more likely to come and retake the test on their own. To help students feel like this activity is truly worth their time and effort, I decided to award extra points towards the major assessments. I found in a CP class, 7 points was that magic number where they really wanted to try their best on this activity, but it also wasn't going to skew the integrity of the test. At the honors level, where they're more passionate about their grades, I don't have to go up as high. I start their scale at 5 points for an A, then they get 4 points if they get a B, 3 points for a C, and 1 point for a D. If any student in the CP or honors class gets an F as a group, then I don't award any extra points. I do think it's important to mention too that students need to understand that this is a test and it needs to be given the same integrity as any other major assessment, even though they're working with their peers. In a regular testing environment, they can't talk to people in the classroom, they can't be on their cell phones, and they can't use any resources on the classroom walls. The only other people they can use is the people in their group. If you want to give group testing a try or if you have any questions, please reach out and we'll sit down for a chat.